for now, anyway. We are happy to welcome you to Entry Point this morning. I guess I should say good morning first. I got things all out of order. Here in our faith community, we provide the entry point or the connection point for you to find out what it is that you believe and explore that notion. We gather together live here every 2 weeks at Conner Prairie, and on the Sundays that we are not here, we offer a virtual service. In order to watch that service, I need to have your email address, so if you have not done that yet, please fill out a blue communication card that is in the blue basket on the table. Also in that blue basket, you can place your financial donations to this faith community. And you know, I don't normally talk about money much, but I have to confess that I have personally been a little lax in fulfilling my pledge to Entry Point. So Marcy, can you put some money in the blue basket for us, please? I would like to thank Betty Ellison for speaking 2 weeks ago while I was gone. I heard many positive comments about your speaking as well as the rest of the service. But you know, I've heard some stuff about my speaking too. One nice lady said a couple of months ago, you know, I don't care what they say, I like it when you talk. And then another one said, well, if I had known you were going to be good today, I'd have brought a friend. And then finally, one of my dear friends, a man, said, you know, we shouldn't make you speak so often. If you recall, we are feeding you lunch today at no cost to you, although there is no such thing as a free lunch. We had a plan to feed everybody back in November. We were going to have a food truck, and we had all the plans, and we were going to, and it just got too cold, and the virus got too hot, and we had to stop. So today we are finally following through with the executive team's plan to feed you, and you're all invited to join us for a box lunch provided by Broader Bowl Deli following this service. So I'm going to speak today anyway, despite those comments. We are talking about our houses, our apartments, our living space, and what it means to us to make those spaces into our home, physically and emotionally. We are pleased to welcome guest drummer Bob McLeish. And as always, we welcome each one of you to this faith community.
Please pray with me. Dear Lord, we all desire a safe and comforting place to call home. Some of us have lived in many homes during our lives, while others may have grown up in the same house and still live close to their childhood neighborhoods. We may have been blessed with a healthy and loving home, or perhaps not, experiencing pain and loneliness. Many of us may still be longing for a place we can truly feel at peace. We ask that you make us aware that wherever and whatever we call home, that our true homes lie within us, and that you are always present to provide comfort, peace, warmth, and love. Help us see that our home can be wherever we are at every moment, and security can be found by recognizing you are always with us. Please lead us. Help us find our way home, wherever we are.
In his classic monologue on stuff, comedian George Carlin made fun of us all for all of the stuff that we accumulate throughout our lifetimes. He asserted that a house is just a pile of stuff with a cover on it. Here is a little bit of Carlin's routine. So when you come right down to it, your house is nothing more than a place to put your stuff. Well, you go out and get more stuff. So keep getting more and more stuff and putting it in different places. Put it in your closets, in the basement, in the attic, in the garage. And even though you might really like your house, you gotta move. You gotta get a bigger house. Why? Too much stuff. Good old George Carlin. Robert Frost wrote, "Home is the place where when you have to go there, they have to take you in." Normally, we think about having services related to the theme of home when we get around the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. But what better time to celebrate home than at this point in our history when we have all spent the majority of the last 17 months at our home. We spent more money on our homes as well these last 17 months. And speaking of spending money on our houses, I don't need to tell you about the insane housing market we are experiencing. Just ask Patty Morton or Craig Trimble, both realtors in our faith community. They will tell you about the dozens of people offering thousands of dollars over asking price in cash offers, passing on the inspection, and still not getting their dream home. Home has been a long time popular theme in poems and stories and movies. The Wizard of Oz gave us the phrase, "There's no place like home." And in fact, that entire movie centers around Dorothy's desire to get back home. And for Dorothy, although that home was far from perfect, she had a powerful connection to her home. Even in the trilogy of The Lord of the Rings, home is incredibly important. 3 books, hundreds upon hundreds of pages, a lot of endings, and it all ends up to be about returning home. In her book entitled, "Life Would Be Perfect If I Lived in That House," Megan Dong writes, "There is no object of desire quite like a house. Few things are capable of eliciting such urgent, even painful yearning. We long for a house as a marker of who we are. Socially, a house is evidence of our success and achievement of the American dream. Houses substantiate our financial status, our reputation, and our taste. In our country, in the 20th century, the single-family residence became more affordable and more accessible for consumers. Unfortunately, the most accessible for white, upwardly mobile, middle-class residents. While we continue to hope for and work toward racial equity in our culture, we have to recognize that non-white people often have high-cost mortgages and are not as welcome in certain neighborhoods. The classic play, A Raisin in the Sun, written by Lorraine Hansberry, addresses that very topic. Our house sometimes seems to almost be human. It holds our baggage. It carries our pain. It shelters what is dear to us. Houses are more than status symbols. Within our house, we hope to find home. We also hope to find ourselves. We are often intrinsically linked to our house, our apartment, our dwelling space. The houses we grew up in weren't always happy homes for some of us. So as adults, we get to choose differently. We get to pick our own house, and we get to make it a home that fits us. And as we make a house or apartment our home, we make choices, and along with the people who join us in that house, we shape our houses into homes that provide us with warmth and security and the comfort that we need. Winston Churchill said, "We shape our homes, and then our homes shape us." The human animal is not so different from our ancestors. Just as animals have lairs and mark their territories, people have fundamental attachments to place and space. It's no surprise that we often say people are going home to God when they die. We bring our fallen heroes, military heroes, home to rest, and sometimes we drive all night to get home instead of stopping at that motel, which promises all the comforts of home. Graham Rowles, who is a gerontology professor at the University of Kentucky, said these profound words: "We have a need for a place that is called home. Home provides security, control, belonging, identity, and privacy. But most of all, it's a place that provides us with a centering, a place from which we leave each morning and to which we return each evening." Well, now I'm going to suggest that this is why this pandemic period of time has been so radically different. We didn't leave our homes every morning and come back every evening. We stayed home. We worked from home. We shopped from home. We got more stuff from home. We did school at home. We did everything at home. And so we looked around and we noticed the stained carpet and the windows that needed to be repaired. And so we built new things and we bought new things for our home and we planted lots more flowers and we fell in love all over again with our safe havens, our homes. Or we jumped into the ring and we tried to outbid all the other 25 people to get a new house in which to make a new home all over again. When we live in a house for a long time, we develop a different way of seeing the inside and the outside of that home. An outsider might look in our yard and say, "That cedar tree up there looks like it's been through some hard times. I mean, it looks like it's been struck by lightning." And we might simply say, "Oh, that cedar tree, that's third base." Such memories become part of a person's life story, which is central to their sense of well-being and assessment of whether their life had meaning. As we age, our life stories take on added importance. The older we get, the more emotionally attached we become to our houses, our apartments, our living spaces, our homes. We are so familiar with the physical surroundings and the neighborhood that sometimes we just can't imagine living anywhere else. Ultimately, our homes enhance our sense of identity. Our emotional well-being is improved by our growing attachment to our home. Professor Habib Chaudhuri said, "Home becomes an emotional refuge, a place where we still have control." And again, thinking about this pandemic, where outside was crazy, we had some control in our home. Our living spaces become ours. It becomes our home. And here's the takeaway, my friends. We are always building our house, our home. An elderly carpenter was ready to retire. He told his employer of his plans to leave the house building business and to live a more leisurely life with his wife and his extended family. And he would miss that paycheck every week, but he wanted to retire. They could get by. The contractor was sorry to see his good worker go, and he asked him if he would just build one more house as a personal favor. The carpenter said yes, but over time, it was easy to see that his heart was not in his work. He resorted to shoddy workmanship, and he used inferior materials. It was an unfortunate way to end a dedicated career. When the carpenter finished his work, his employer came to inspect the home. And then he handed the front door key to the carpenter and he said, "This is your house, my gift to you." Our house is important to us. We are always building our house. It becomes a reflection of us, our character, our tastes, and our values. Our living space becomes magnificently our home. Home, a gathering place, a shelter, and a sanctuary. There is no place like home. Evangelist Billy Graham wrote, "Whenever I am traveling, I constantly look forward to the moment when I will return home. Even if I'm very busy and preoccupied, in the back of my mind, one thought is always present. Soon I'll be going home. Home is a place of peace and security and rest. Home is where I belong. May we each build homes that allow us to feel like that, so that as we view going home, we have that same excitement and expectation. It was truly wonderful to see all of you here today. Next week in our virtual service, I will be talking about how hurt people hurt people. Get it? Hurt people hurt other people. And in 2 weeks, we will be back here at Conner Prairie, and I will be asking the question, what's my part? I hope to see you then. Have a great Sunday, and go over to the table just outside the pavilion and get your lunch and something to drink in peace. Amen.